The Chicago Bears will be missing one of the key members of their secondary tonight when they face the Minnesota Vikings. We're also going to talk about some of the key matchups and battles the Chicago Bears have ahead of them in the matchup tonight on Monday Night Football. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform that we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content. So first up, Tyrique Stevenson will be missing today's game. Terrell Smith will start in his place. Terrell Smith, while being a fifth-round pick, did push Tyrique Stevenson this offseason and in training camp for that starting position. So yeah, Smith not quite at the level. Tyrique Stevenson has gone through the trials and tribulations and things like that of a rookie cornerback in this league, and has really started to come and play much better over the second half of it. But with that said, Terrell Smith hasn't played a number of snaps, but he's going to come in there. He's going to play next to Jalen Johnson. We're still going to have Kyler Gordon out there. But this could be a really big hit, especially because they could look to pick on Terrell Smith in that secondary as well. Not to say they wouldn't have done that with Tyrique Stevenson, but again, he's kind of gone through those trials already this season. So Terrell Smith stepping in there, he's going to be starting. We'll see how he'll perform, but that is something definitely to look out for and to see how the Vikings try to take advantage of that matchup. But with that being said, there are a couple of different matchups we want to talk about for the Chicago Bears today against the Vikings. And the first one is, can the Chicago Bears stop the run by the Minnesota Vikings? If you can force the Vikings to be a one-dimensional team, of course, that makes everything a little bit more easy. The interior offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings, listen, it is what it is. The Bears have the advantage there, especially now when you add Montez Sweat and things like that. Some of the key matchups you're going to want to look at in that is just how the Bears make that, the matchup of Montez Sweat, Yannick Ngakoue, how they take advantage of those, and if they can force the Minnesota Vikings to become that one-dimensional team, we'll see how it is. The Bears secondary was coming into this theoretically healthy, but now with Tyrique Stevenson being out, the Vikings may look to pass more anyway. But again, if you can take that run game completely away from them, it's really going to be important there. And with that said as well, we still have to find a way to put pressure on Dobbs. We cannot allow Joshua Dobbs to just sit back there and not have any type of pressure. Montez Sweat is probably going to be matched up with Brian O'Neill. We have to win that matchup. You got Dershaw against Yannick Ngakoue. We've already seen now with Yannick not being double-teamed as much, he's playing a little bit better. Still not, at the level of what we signed him for, but those are going to be some important matchups. And if they can win those matchups and get some pressure on Dobbs, it can make the game. So, again, can you stop the run, make the Vikings one-dimensional? And then in doing so, can you also get pressure on Dobbs? Those two things are going to be hugely important for this to see if we can get this victory here against the Minnesota Vikings. Then on top of that, you gotta look at how Justin Fields performs. Brian Flores, who's the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, is not going to come in and make it any easy on Justin Fields. But Justin Fields has to outperform Dobbs, which I think that he can do. We've seen it. We've seen what Justin Fields can do when he's comfortable, things like that. Justin Fields is going to be hugely important, not making mistakes, mitigating those kind of heady mistakes that he makes at sometimes, playing a poised game, going downfield. That's going to be important. He has to outperform Dobbs. And then also, Luke Getsy has a big test to outperform Brian Flores. Brian Flores gets really complicated in the looks that he throws quarterbacks in that secondary. So, listen, they also blitz 47% of the time. 47% of the time, they're going to be bringing the pressure on Justin Fields the majority of this game. They're the highest blitz percentage team in the league, so you really want to look at that. They also rank 10th in defense in the league. So this is a team that's going to come in. They're going to try to rough the game up. They're going to try to rough Justin Fields up, get him out of his game. And listen, Luke Getsy gets outcoached a whole hell of a lot. And we have to see if they – listen, I'm not saying that Luke Getsy is going to be able to outcoach Brian Flores, but one thing that I do know, if we can get the lead early, Luke Getsy gets a little bit more loose with that play calling. I think that's going to be important in this game as well to do that. So, what you want to look at those things for the Chicago Bears. Those are kind of some of the key matchups to look at in this one. And can Matt Eberflus get his first win against a divisional opponent, right? You want to also look at that. So the Bears have a ton of tests in front of them. They got some players that are going to be stepping into positions as well. Roschon Johnson's going to be more prioritized in that running game as well with the injuries that we have down there. Deontay Foreman is probably going to be out. With that said, Khalil Herbert's going to get the most of the snaps. But listen, we're looking at Roschon Johnson being, once again, go there. Pass protection is probably going to be why he's in the game, right? But at the end of the day, we'll see how Roschon Johnson really performs, and this is a big opportunity for him. Darnell Mooney as well, who's also complained about how he's utilized and prioritized in that offense. Are they going to get him the ball a little bit more? Does he perform better as well looking at this one? And then the offensive line. You got to look at Darnell Wright. You got to look at Nate Davis. You got to look at Tevin Jenkins. You got to look at who else am I missing? I'm missing somebody else. Braxton Jones, right? You got to look at those players as well and to ask themselves if they're going to be able to stand up and really perform in this game and keep Justin Fields with the blitz that's coming. The offensive line and how they perform today is going to be hugely, hugely important. You cannot come in here and lollygag on that offensive line. The offensive line has been playing better, right? And I think we appreciate the way that offensive line's been playing, so you would want to see them continue that and keep that going. And then outside of just the defensive line, the linebacking core, right? Jermaine Edmonds has been a disappointment so far this season. It is what it is there. Just got to call a spade a spade. Jack Sanborn's been playing a little bit better. TJ Edwards, we'll see what's going on with him, things like that. But listen, we have to come in. Justin Jefferson is expected not to play today. So the Bears got to come in and they got to take advantage. Right now, the Chicago Bears, even with the injuries that we have, we're a healthier team than the Minnesota Vikings. Can we take advantage of that? That is one of the biggest questions for this Bears team. I don't have a huge amount of faith on it. We'll see what it is. Tyreek Stevenson, Deontay Foreman, they're out today. So, we got players that are willing to step up. Terrell Smith's going to step up. Larry Borum is going to be out as well in this game, which, that's kind of here or there when it comes down to that. But the Bears are still healthier than the Vikings, and they got to come in and they got to take care of business here. All eyes on us. It's Monday Night Football. Can the Bears step in prime time and get a win, right? Can they perform better? I don't have very much hope. You guys know I'm kind of out on this Matt Eberflus game. Matt Eberflus as a coach overall, I'm kind of out on that. But we have to play a solid 4 quarters of football on both sides of the ball if we can get that. Jaquan Brisker apologized to Justin Fields for how the defense didn't help support that offense. We need to see that, but we also need to protect the ball, limit turnovers, get some takeaways where we can as well. So how Justin Fields performs in the second game back, all eyes are going to be on that as well. How we used more design runs, we went downfield more. So we got to do those things. This Minnesota Vikings team is definitely a better team than the Chicago Bears. That goes without saying, right? But at the end of the day, this is still a team that can come in and perform. We can do it. We've seen it happen before. This Bears team has some fight and some heart. They've shown it a little bit here more recently than what they have before. But when it comes down to it, we'll see what the Bears can do. I really am liking the Bears' chances tonight against the Minnesota Vikings. They got to take care of business. They got to perform on the defensive side of the ball. We need to see a big game from Justin Fields. Can we get connections to DJ Moore? How does Cole Kmet perform in this game? But listen, the Bears have to come in here and realize what they have in front of them, right? They got a defense that it's going to come at them fast. It's going to come at them. They're going to be blitzing Justin Fields this whole entire game. It's not going to be easy. And how Justin Fields shows his poise in today's game is going to be hugely important as well. There are reasons for optimism in this game. Do not get me wrong. There are absolutely reasons to think. So when it comes down to it, listen, Dobbs, listen, he's been playing solidly this season, but he's had his own issues. The Vikings have turnover issues. The Bears had one of their best games as far as forcing turnovers. So listen, let's get this divisional win. Let's come in here. Let's take care of business. Let's execute. And let's just get the job done. That is what it is. Let's just get the job done. Can we do that? And this coaching staff, you cannot continue to coach to avoid losing. Coach to win the game. Don't coach to lose the game. Come in there, play free, do what you got to do, play call, use your lineups well. We'll see what happens when it comes down to it. I look at this team. I look at the way they've been playing. I look at Justin Fields play and the fact that he's back. And there's a lot of reason for optimism. But also, this is still the same Chicago Bears team that has been all year long. And this is a team that, listen, has been huge. Disappointing would be to say the least when it comes down to it. But can the Bears overcome their own injuries? Can they force some turnovers? Can they take care of business? Can Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy call at least a decent game for a full 4 quarters? That's going to be the things that I'll look out for. But let me know what you guys think. What are you looking out for in tonight's game against the Minnesota Vikings? Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot For everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.